Hey guys, I'm going to keep today's session really short, and a lot of it has to do with the topic it is. I want to keep this topic really simple so that you can take a couple of tips from what I share today and apply them right away to your life. So, with that, I don't want to provide too much information, but just enough. So, we're talking about stress, and what a great topic for this year. And that's actually why I switched the topic for today because of what's happening in our world. And it's very easy to sort of get drawn into the stress of what's happening out there where you're watching the news, you're seeing the numbers climb. And if you allow yourself to watch that and focus on that every day, that can definitely create a stress response in the body. But I want to talk about this topic specifically because most people don't realize they're stressed. You have been stressed your whole working life that it doesn't feel any different for you this year, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to share my own story so that this makes more sense to you. And one of the reasons I am very passionate about this particular topic. So in my 20s, I was probably like every other person in their 20s. Everyone's got a little bit of a unique story, but I was very driven to be successful. I wanted to be independent. I wanted to get a great job. At the time, I wanted an office job so I could wear great clothes. And anyways, I eventually got a great job. And at the same time, I went vegetarian. So in my early 20s and was eating like a horrible vegetarian. So I was eating sort of on that high sugar, high carb, low protein, low fat phase, which is like terrible for your mental health. And anyways, I was traveling a lot. I was doing a lot of adventures where I was sort of like in the woods and maybe eating not the cleanest foods. We did a hill tribe trek, for example, in Thailand, and someone was cooking out of like leaves for us. And I'm sharing this for a reason. In my 20s, I had a couple of root canals because of something that happened in an accident I had. And then I was in a very stressful job. We were implementing this huge software system like across the globe on the team that I was on, and I was really stressed with that job. And to boot, I had very much a perfectionist personality. Sort of, at the time it was like a not good enoughness going on in all areas of my life. Okay. And then add on to that, my dad got very ill, and it took him about 5 years, but he was diagnosed with cancer and then eventually passed. But it was sort of 5 years of that kind of stress. Some of you might be able to relate to that. Anyways, that was sort of like the straw that broke the camel's back. And so in my late 20s, when I was 29, I totally crashed and I got really, really sick. And up until that point, I had a lot of signs and symptoms that I was out of balance, but I didn't really pay too much attention to them because I didn't really think it was a big deal. And I'll share a couple of those. Acne. I had gut issues, like really gassy all the time, and didn't really think it was a big deal. I had blood sugar issues, meaning that I would have breakfast, and then if I didn't eat in the next sort of 3 to 4 hours, I get kind of shaky and feel a little bit off. Some of the other things I had was like really bad anxiety, and but I've always sort of had that my whole life, like a bit of social anxiety, but it got really bad in my 20s and kind of verged on depression, and that would sort of come and go. And I also had like just really bad issues with sort of eating, like I mentioned, like a probably verged on the border of an eating disorder, sort of the first part of my 20s. And so, anyways, not doing so great. I mean, on the surface, I was doing very well. You would never have guessed. And I had a lot of fun in my 20s, so don't get me wrong. But underneath, there was this layer of poor health happening, and it just all came apart when I was 30. So got quite sick to the point where I had to quit, stop working for a while. And I was in and out of hospitals, trying to figure out answers, not getting a lot of answers. I saw like a million specialists, got a million tests done, and then ventured into the world of our alternative medicine, met a million practitioners there, and then eventually started to get answers. Now, all along my journey, I became interested in the whole connection between mind, body, health. And so that's where I sort of got involved in my holistic nutrition practice. And then I became a yoga teacher and studied, that mental connection. And that's sort of where my passion started. Now, I want to get you to your answers here around stress. But the reason I shared that story is because, gosh, had I known what I know now, I would things would have turned out a lot differently. Now, I don't regret that because I think that's the reason I'm doing what I'm doing. But I want to share with you what I think is the most important, and based on research, obviously, and experiences, the most important thing that you want to do for yourself to help you be more stress resilient. All right. And that is work on your gut health. Now, I could tell you a lot of different things. I could tell you that you need magnesium for stress, that you need your B vitamins for stress, because when you are stressed, you are, hey Bella, you are burning through your B vitamins like crazy under stress. And again, remember, you might not feel stress because you're so used to that state of being that you don't feel stress. Because I never felt stressed in my 20s. I never did. But every single thing I shared with you was a stress to my body or a trauma to my body. A root canal, trauma to your body. Car accident, trauma to your body. Getting sick is a trauma to your body. Food poisoning, I didn't mention that. I had food poisoning a bunch of times. Trauma to your body. Remember that, because that all layers on and can create a weakened system, weakened adrenal glands, which are important for stress resilience. Okay. So gut health. Gut health is kind of like the basis of everything. I like to look at that as being the basement, your foundation of a house, right? You want to work on that foundation and get that really strong. And then hopefully that first floor, everything, your hormones, everything on that layer will get better. Because when you're under stress, there are three systems that shut down: your digestion, your hormone system, and your immunity. This is why this topic is really important now, and this is why I want to speak about this now. So what do you do? I'm going to give you the answers. So one really simple thing you can do through diet right now is to incorporate fermented foods into your diet. I mentioned the whole vitamin C, the vitamin B, the magnesium. Those are all really important. You can get that through dark green leafies. You can get that through eating avocados. You can eat whole oats, foods like that. Those are really great for stress, and dark chocolate even. But let's get more fermented foods into your diet. So here's a couple ways you can do it. So I have two things right now in my house. So kombucha, this can be good for most people. For what this does, it helps to balance out the bacteria in the gut, okay? And it integrates more good bacteria. Now, not everyone can do that. It depends on your body, but most people can do okay with a little bit of that. Also good for your gut is sauerkraut, a raw sauerkraut. So in the wintertime, even just doing like 1 to 2 tablespoons along with a meal can be an excellent way to support gut health, all right? Remembering that gut-brain connection. Pretty sure I've talked about that in other talks. Kimchi, maybe you're adding kimchi to your diet. Now, the reason these fermented foods are effective are because they have GABA, and that is a neurotransmitter that's very supportive to the body for stress, okay? Some other foods you might want to incorporate into your meals are miso, tempeh. Tempeh is like a fermented tofu. It's also very good. So that's another fermented food that you might want to incorporate. Raw cheeses. So you might see raw cheeses available at Whole Foods and other health food stores. And raw cheese just means that the enzymes are still intact and you can digest it more easily, and it's sort of like considered a fermented food, and so it supports that gut bacteria as well. And am I missing anything? I think I've got kind of the big ones. So just incorporating fermented foods into your diet. So what I want you to do is think about what you do today in terms of fermented foods. And if you want to type in, what are you eating right now that is fermented or drinking? And what I want you to do is pick one of the things that I just mentioned and experiment with it. That's it. That's your homework. Okay. It is that important in really supporting that gut health, getting your microbiome in balance. It is so important, especially now because we are antibacterialing the entire world and space around us. And the problem with that is that it is killing all the bacteria, and we need good bacteria in our bodies. And so we want to get it back into our system through some of those healthy foods. Another way you can get some of that good bacteria back into your body is just even getting into nature more, going on hikes, hanging out with your dogs. You can actually share the microbiome with your pets. They kind of go in and do their thing in the earth and they bring it back. You breathe it, you share the breath, and you share that microbiome. There's lots of research that shows that your family shares that same microbiome. So you want to make sure your whole family is doing the same things here. So that's it. I want to keep it super simple today, you guys. We're all busy and we all have a certain attention span. So I want to keep it to that. Just the final thing I want to say is because of this topic, and I am really passionate about right now because our world is under stress. Like we're seeing it at the clinic. We're seeing people come in with chronic inflammation, stress related. skin issues, stress related. A lot of these things are stress and gut related. And it's time to prepare yourself, especially for winter. We had fun in the spring. We were making bread, we were making cookies, but we have to be different this fall. And so we launched a program, and it's called Clean Eating for Busy People. It's starting at the end of the month. I'm really pumped about it. I'm doing it with another nutritionist at our office at Balance Point Health Center. It's going to be, like I said, 10 days of guided mentoring around how to provide your family with clean, whole food meals that are super simple. And we're going to give you some tips and tricks that you can then take and apply to the rest of your life. Because this is a lifestyle change, and it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to open up our kitchens to you, and you're going to learn a lot of really helpful tools that are going to get your body more resilient so it's ready for whatever the winter is bringing. All right. So thanks, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. Oh, you like kimchi, Bella? That's awesome. Oh, no, it's too strong. Same here. I don't love kimchi, but I do this grew on me, sauerkraut. I didn't love it the first time I had it, but now I just kind of force myself. And then once I force myself, I actually love it. Some people have told me that they actually crave it. And sometimes your body will call out to the foods that it needs, but usually it just calls out when it's sort of in balance. It calls out to healthy foods. So that's a great one to start with if you haven't, if you're not eating any fermented foods, or kombucha. That's a really good entry level fermented food as well that you can start with. And there's lots of different versions and varieties. Don't skimp out and go cheap, because you want to get a good quality brand so it has enough of the healthy bacteria in here. All right. Let me know if you have any questions. I'll put the link to our program under here, and I'll make a donation. And thanks for listening, guys. And take care of your health. You guys take care of your stress. It really impacts every level of your health, of your life. So thanks, guys. Chat soon.